Hey guys, Austin Maliolo here in the Hand Plan Studio, breaking down the ring dip today. Now, we're gonna briefly talk about how to teach the dip, the strict dip, and then from there, dive into the kipping dip. And how do we do this for a class? And it really is gonna have to be a progressive teaching tool because we have to get people warmed up. We also wanna make sure people have the ability to hold themselves at the top and at the bottom and press themselves out before they get super dynamic. So let's dive into it. We have our ring set up here. Now what we're going to do, we're going to start with a few opportunities for assessment, but also warm up for our athletes. Now a few things. Make sure that we have rings that are low enough for your athletes that if they cannot hold themselves up at the top, they can have their feet on the ground. That's going to be important so they can go through the entire progression just with feet assistance on the ground the entire time at lockout, and then they'll be able to bend their knees to the bottom of the dip as we go through. So we're going to start at the very top by just holding the top of the ring dip. Your athletes jump to the top and you hold. What you're looking for here is you don't want to see an inactive shoulder. You'll be pressing away from the ground. So the cue there is press away from the ground so your head goes towards the ceiling and you push your fist towards the ground. Maybe you hold that for 10, 15 seconds. 30 seconds is absolutely something we'd like to be able to see, but it gets definitely spicy. Then from here, we can actually teach the descent. Very important because this is the action. So demo to your athletes how we want you to dip. From here, you want to see the shoulder travel forward, the elbow travel back, and the hips travel down. That's going to look like this, and then we'll pause in the bottom of the dip. Jump to the top, elbow forward or elbow back, shoulders forward. Now biceps are on the rings and holding this bottom position. Again, teaching the descent and then the press up. This is just essentially a feat of strength. Can you press up from that full range of motion ring dip where your shoulders are in front of your elbows are back, but biceps are on the rings, and then you can press to the top. Again, your athletes can jump to the top or utilize their legs if they need assistance. So we can warm up the entire class throughout this duration. Now, once we're there, a few things that we want to start to talk about is starting to, when we have the strict dip, we want to start to understand how do we work on the kip. And the way we're going to roll with this is from the bottom of the dip position. So that's also why we want to warm this stuff up. From the bottom of the dip position, we're just going to start to swing the knees back and then forward. And it's going to look like this. So I'm here, knees back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, and then pop. So again, what we're starting to do is get momentum. If you look at it, the knees go back, and when they come forward, my momentum is coming up. So again, think about 2 knee swings, and on the third one, you're going to get a little bit of a pop. That pop is where you're just going to have the biceps and the shoulders come up a little bit, starting to get that upward momentum. Looks like this. So again, back, forward, back, pop. And you can start to see how I'm coming up. Now, what you're going to want to talk about from a coaching perspective here, guys, is keeping the belly tight and tension on the rings, or they're going to start to swing around by almost turning the rings into the body and having 3 points of contact. Here, 1, 2, and 3. Now, do you see my 3 points of contact? 1 here, 2, and then 3. That's what we're looking for, and that's going to be really, really helpful. Now, from here, we're just going to do a big kip in that ring dip. It's going to look like this. We're in the bottom, knees back, pop, and we come up. And you can come right down. So again, really just working on that big momentum. So again, knees forward, knees back, and then we pop up. So again, notice how that momentum starts to bring you up. This will also translate to our bigger kips and our muscle ups, so we can start to draw those parallels, which is really nice. Now, what we're going to start to do here is tighten that up. How do we string these together? Really, it's the same motion. We're just going to start to speed it up a little bit. And again, as the knees come up, you start to press down. So again, we're up here, knees come back, and then up. And notice how I just straighten at the top to get a little extra oomph. So again, the knees are going to go less far back. It's just going to be back and then up. And then to finish, you straighten. So again, I'm up here, knees back, up and straighten, up and straighten. So again, as opposed to this big movement, it just starts to go here, and then up here, and then you straighten at the top, and that helps you finish. So again, as I string those together, it looks like this. Up to the top, knees back, boom, knees back, up and straighten, up and straighten. And now you start to see how we can string these together. So knees back, up and straighten, up and straighten. Now I'll help you squeeze that butt a little more. Stringing them together quickly looks like this. So I'm here. It just becomes a little more streamlined. But again, it's no different than any other big kip to small kip. As we get tired, I'm in the bottom of the dip, just swing back, and I just get more momentum, okay? So when we teach this, this is challenging for athletes because this is a dynamic plane. They're gonna get tired. They also need the strength to be able to do a good amount of strict dips before we get super dynamic here. So in the class, you can take everybody through this because you can do a jumping dip back to the bottom, and the whole time your athletes can be working while your athletes are working on the kip. It's a beautiful way to warm up the shoulders, practice the kipping ring dip, but also get people scaled up appropriately for your class. So guys, work hard and have fun with these ring dip options.